Greta Thunberg climate strike, the world is on fire, activism works so I'm telling you to act, she said. We are being betrayed by those in power.
Here's a summary of the article.
Greta Thunberg has warned those in power she will not be silenced when the world is on fire. The teenager was welcomed by chants of Greta, Greta as she addressed some 15,000 people at the Bristol Youth Strike for Climate event. Greta was speaking at the climate strike event on College Green, before leading a march through the city. Greta walked at the front of the crowds behind a green banner reading Skolstrejk för klimatet, which translates from Swedish as School Strike for Climate. Greta had originally intended to visit London, but the area planned for the protest in the capital was considered too small, so organisers recommended Bristol instead. Police said 15,000 are in attendance, although organisers believe the figure is closer to 30,000. The roar when Greta stepped in front of the microphone echoed across the green, and her speech was regularly punctuated with roars of approval, especially when she mentioned the decision not to grant Bristol Airport planning permission to expand. Avon and Somerset Police said Greta left Bristol at about 1500.
This post received a score of 17,677, with an upvote ratio of 77%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Considering oil core knew about a global catastrophe hitting by the 2060s as early as February 1980, but still deny the science. Yes, people in power betrayed us by not slamming those people in jail and spending their billions on green infrastructure that would have averted all this.
I've heard it said that climate change denial isn't yokels misunderstanding science but willful propaganda of oil and coal companies. People have threatened to lynch and kill Greta for merely pointing this out. Let that sink in.
It's pretty brutal. They spent incomprehensibly tiny fractions of their profits on disinformation campaigns, and the only debate we have in public now is whether we should tax them a little bit. And #X200B, that's basically pulling the trigger on a global catastrophe. No wonder Greta and every other teenager are enraged.
Greater than and the only debate we have in public now is whether we should tax them a little bit. The whole thing feels like it shouldn't need explaining or arguing. Like the fact of the matter is staring us all in the face, and just a little logical effort brings you to the same conclusion as the rest of us. It's like arguing for being a good person. Why should I have to convince people to be good people?
Greater than why should I have to convince people to be good people? You shouldn't have to, but some people will simply never care. The politicians who knowingly deny the reality of catastrophic climate change are just horrible, horrible people. They don't even give a shit if their own grandkids have to live in a blazing inferno. Why would they care about you? There's no other word for it than evil.
That begs the question, why do we suffer evil to continue living? Or, more accurately, since we allow them to continue living, with all their power and wealth, no less. We are directly complicit in that evil.
I tend to agree with you. I think the reason we don't do more to stop these people is A. Most people are comfortable enough with food, water, shelter, and internet. B. Most people are too poor to spend any large amount of time away from work, protesting or otherwise. In a few decades, when coastal areas are under sea level, and fresh water sources are drying up, there will be enough unrest for people to take a stand.
Any society is only 3 meals away from total anarchy. Arnold Rimmer, JMC.
Yes, but profits.
Sadly, I've seen that argument used in a non-ironic way. It's like people can't get their head around that it's literally profits versus the biosphere, and how one is slightly more important than the other.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.